lock your man down, defensive side of the ball, you know? And you know what? You can hear it in LeBron's audio when he said, well, another great, me and Wade dropping 30 on both sides. You know what? That's not what Magic and Bird didn't just go out there and play playground ball and put up 50 against each other. They defended each other. And then, if you put up 30 while I'm manning you up all game long, you got the best of me. It's not, hey, let's Olay to the hoop on both sides and put up 30 points. That just means nobody on either side played any defense there, man. Get a kick out of that. It's the modern NBA, I know it, but no better example of the bad parts of the modern NBA than last night. Plus those incredibly ugly-ass jerseys that everybody was wearing didn't make it feel any more like a game as well. Something funny that I noticed that has nothing to do with the Cavs here, but just to show you the difference in a season and how, things change and other teams coming up and how you've always got to continue to evolve. This is the first season in NBA history where both conference finalists, the two NBA finals teams, the Heat and the Spurs, first time in NBA history, both teams entered Christmas Day and their Christmas games in 7th or lower place in the conference. The Heat and the Spurs were both the number 7 seed entering yesterday's games, and they were the two championship teams the year before. The league is a-changing, man, and you always have to stay one step ahead of the curve. And I still think that the Spurs are the best team over there in the West when it all comes down. But, they don't necessarily worry about proving it in the first 3-4 weeks of the season as much as at the end of it. But I thought that was interesting to see, too. Cavaliers, it all added up to a 101-91 loss to the Heat last night. And again, I'm not saying that this Cavs team isn't going to win a bunch of games, that they're not going to have a lot of fun, that fans aren't going to enjoy going to the games, they're not going to go to the playoffs. Yeah, they're going to do that stuff. But that should not be the focus, because if you put LeBron James, Kevin Love, and Kyrie Irving on the same team, and that's your goal, and you're satisfied, then we've got different goals. Because when you make those moves, those aren't 17-11 happy to make the playoffs moves. Those are let's build something and contend. And that's what I'm saying. So, but you can tell me what you want in the playoffs, that you're not going to win 110, 109 games. When it gets down to the playoffs, it's going to be defense. And that's the thing. I got somebody within the Cavs that argues this with me. Well, LeBron's going to turn it up at playoff time. I don't believe in that. I don't believe that you go all season long. And I'm not just talking about LeBron. Lots of players will use that expression. I turn it up in the playoffs. Now, I do believe there's always another level that the best can go to. But guess what? When the other best players have been playing at that other level during the season, then when they flip that switch, they're still going to be a level higher than you. And that's my point there is I see LeBron doing the whole hanging out until the playoffs thing, saving his energy and all of that. That's fine. But to me, if you don't practice playing the piano all year, you're still going to miss a note or two when you get to your big recital. It may be beautiful, but that one note or two is still going to be off key. And that may be all it takes for somebody to notice it and not appreciate the rest of the body of work. And that's a nice way of wrapping up what I was saying about yesterday's game, because that was a garbage performance, absolutely garbage performance by the Cavaliers yesterday. There's no excuse for the lack of defensive effort by the Cavs. We talk about offensive efficiency and how the Cavs are at the top of the league. They're 24th after yesterday's game in defensive efficiency. Each of the last 13 years, the NBA champion has been top 10 or better in defensive efficiency. The Cavaliers are 24th in the league in that category. Offensive efficiency is fun. That runs up the scoreboard. Defensive efficiency wins championships. And the Cavs, they're not only not efficient on defense, they're allergic to it right now. And I say, rightfully so, that it all starts at the top. LeBron James plays defense, locks his man down. You will see the entire rest of the team follow his example. If not, you're going to have an ugly end of this season, and Kevin Love may decide to go ply his trade somewhere else, because the only thing that would cause a guy like Kevin Love not to stay here, it's not losing in the playoffs. It's not failure to win a championship. It's not money, because the Cavs can pay him as much as anybody else. The one thing only that will run a guy like Kevin Love out of town is if he feels that this is the LeBron James show and everybody else should be happy to be here. And if he feels that way, he will leave. And so should anybody else, because that is what was broken about the Cavaliers 4 years ago, and it can be broken all again. So tonight, they got a chance to break that and break somebody else because they're playing Orlando. The Magic stink. As I said, last time they played Orlando, Cavs blew them out. But don't expect a blowout tonight. Do not expect a blowout tonight. Vucevic is bad. He's averaging 18 and 11 for the Magic in the center, and we don't have anybody but Tristan Thompson. I mean, I don't know who's going to get some minutes tonight. I don't know if we'll see. There's got to be some reason we're not seeing Haywood. But, I mean, there's glaring missing pieces here on this roster as far as the big men. But even then, I don't think it's enough. I mean, Tobias Harris, Kyle O'Quinn, Vucevic, Oladipo, and Elfrid Payton are the starters for Orlando, who come in at 11 and 20 at home. Cavs 17 and 11. It's going to be LeBron, Kevin Love, Tristan most likely starting at center, Mike Miller, and Kyrie Irving. And I don't like Mike Miller starting there either, man. I mean, I like Mike Miller as a piece of this team, but I don't like him starting either. I mean, you can see the depth issues all over this Cavs, and that's the thing. Do they have a trade in them? Sure. Do they have some assets? Yeah, a couple. Not as much as they had before they got Kevin Love. But I think they need 2 moves now instead of 1. That's the problem. Is there's multiple things that need to be switched around in this roster, and I don't know if they have the ability to do that now. So Varajeao's injury is big, and at the end of the season, it'll make some people appreciate him. You can say injury prone or whatnot, but Achilles is, and man, that happens to anybody, man. But yeah, Varajeao goes down most every year with injury, so I'm not going to sit here and argue with you that he doesn't get hurt a lot. But that type of injury just, man, it was a shame too. You saw it. We watched him. He went down, grabbed it, and you were just hoping that it wasn't the bad scenario. Turned out that it was. But man, for all the people that criticize the Cavs and Varajeao and don't like him and don't want him there, I guarantee you, if you don't yet, you will soon have a better appreciation of him, because I think if this season goes off the tracks for the Cavs in the playoffs, that'll be like pointing to Alex Mack. You'll point back and you'll say, hey, the team was never the same after they lost Varajeao, man. He's the guy that does the things that the stars are too lazy to do or too good to do, and that's just real. He does the grunt work, the grind work. He gets the rebounds. He plays the defense that nobody else plays. When you miss your man, he steps into the hole and tries to take the charge and flops and all that stuff that we joke about. But he does the things that the superstars are too good to do. The Cavs have a bunch of superstars, which means they need a bunch of Varajeaos to balance that out. They don't have enough guys that do the work that the superstars don't do. They've got to find some grinders, baby, and add them to this team. But you know what would help the most? If you convince your stars to do a little grinding. If you have your stars doing some grinding, then all of a sudden, nobody can touch your stars, baby. But whatever. We'll talk about that tonight. 7, Cavaliers and the Magic. Sunday, my birthday, by the way, Cavs and the Pistons. I may go down and check that one out at the Q myself. We'll talk about all of that on Monday here. Talk about the Browns. They've got the Ravens, final game of the season. Playoff opportunities and positioning and all of that stuff going down here this week. Look at the... check this out. Of the 8 games in the AFC, 7 of them involve or impact the playoffs or the playoff seeding. And interesting there, out of the 8 games, 7 of them impact things here. Meanwhile, in the NFC, 5 of their games will affect the seeding or the playoff positioning, where teams end up. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch how these games shake out, and then what your wild card weekend matchups are. As we said, San Diego, Kansas City, they can end Baltimore's season whether the Browns beat them or not on Sunday. If San Diego wins, they're in. If they lose and Baltimore loses, they'll still be in. If they win, it's out, like I said. And if they lose and Baltimore wins, Baltimore will sneak up into that spot. In the NFC, it's mostly jockeying around for position, with the exception of the worst division in the world. The NFC South will be decided by that Panthers game coming up here this weekend. And we'll talk about all of this with John McMullen from the Sports Network on Monday. Lake Erie Monsters, after a holiday break this week, they've got back-to-back road games tonight and tomorrow. 7 o'clock, the puck drops in Rochester tonight, in Utica tomorrow. Upstate New York trip for the Monsters before they get back to town. No, excuse me, actually they finish up that road trip on Tuesday. From Milwaukee. We'll try to catch up with Doug Plagans on Tuesday, see if we can't get you a preview of that and a look back as well. I see the Blue Jackets are in action this weekend. Everybody, it's a busy, busy weekend, you guys, and we'll be back here on Monday to talk about it. We're definitely live Monday and Tuesday doing the beginning of the week thing. Dan Wismar, John McMullen in the house here to start things off. Guys, enjoy the weekend. I'm going to enjoy it as well. No basketball games for me. No work this weekend. When I sign off the air here in just a moment, I'm going to enjoy my birthday weekend here. Cannot wait. And cannot wait to get back with you guys live. Excuse me. Last cough of the day. Man, it's killing me. I got to go. Guys, have a great weekend. Enjoy the Cavs, the Vikings, the Buckeyes, the Monsters, the Gladiators. Well, they're not playing this weekend, but the Blue Jackets, of course, the Browns, the NFL, all of that. Let's do it. Monday Sports Fix right here. Same bad time, same bad channel, live at noon here across the Sports Fix Radio Network. We love you, Cleveland and beyond. Have a fun weekend. Enjoy the sports, and we'll see you on Monday right here on The Fix.
Baby, this is Cleveland. It is so much more to us. You can even go to Severn's Hall to see an orchestra.
Hey. We rep our city.
Yeah.
Blue lights separate the ground from the gritty. Red 6 fitted. Hood class cover any city that we visit.